Well, boogity, 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 boys. We've got day 2 of streaming. Second straight off season to get going. And before we do officially get going, let's get some music playing here as well in the background. And hopefully things today go far better than they did yesterday. If you were here for yesterday's live stream with the New York Giants franchise, thank you guys for tuning into that. Definitely saw a lot more people tuned in post-stream, which is perfectly fine. If you do enjoy the post-stream, jumping around in the videos, all good. Thank you guys for joining in, and even after the stream. But we have a lot of work to do today. And frankly, I am very, very happy with where this series is at, despite how the last 2 episodes went here in this series, where we cost ourselves a lot of glory. But I think it fits really the story that we're trying to build here with Kent State, who historically is not a winning team whatsoever. I'm just getting things set up a little bit more on my side, but historically wise, yeah, Kent State not that good. We had a phenomenal regular season, arguably the best in Kent State history. But we coughed up the bowl game. That one should have been a blowout win, but after the first quarter, we let up, and we never quite got the pedal stepped back down. We ended up losing that one to who's kind of becoming a rival for us in the Buffalo Bulls. Knocked us out of the MAC championship in year 1, took the MAC championship game from us in year 2. And then we went to the Games Above Sports Bowl, which just sounds like the most generic name of a bowl game possible. Playing against tougher competition, being more of a Power 4 team in Wake Forest. And we played well in the first, the second. We did better in the fourth. As pointed out by even some of you guys, third quarter really has not been good for us throughout any of the games. Perhaps the Pitt game maybe was a bit better. We could even go in and check that. That was the most thorough game we had played ever, and it was a massive upset. Pittsburgh at the time was ranked 3. They finished the year at 13. We finished at 19. We put up 14. That was tied for our best quarter in that game. And then we just coasted in the fourth to the end. That was probably one of the few quarters, the few third quarters that we did play well. But ultimately, as I mentioned, I'm still happy with how this game is playing and the story arc we see here, where we made a name for ourselves here for Kent State. Most of our games were at least locally televised, which should help out in recruiting the local talent. However, not winning the championship game and not winning the bowl game still means that there is more this team needs to do, because I was kind of worried that if we did win the bowl game and the conference championship, that would be pushing us to the next step here for Kent State, which is moving conference. And I didn't quite think it should happen after just 2 seasons. So when it comes time here in this live stream at the end, when we are setting up our schedule, I do want to schedule 2 ACC teams and 2 Big Ten teams. I want to see how we compare against them, because those are the 2 conferences that would make sense for Kent State to move to. On top of that, we will also update some of the rules. I know the Power Fours, all of the conferences, as far as I am aware, have changed from the 8-game protocol now to the 9-game conference schedule. We'll see if we make that adjustment for everyone. I think there's still a couple moves that could be made. I know Florida State is a team that has considered moving. I've heard some rumors about Big 12. I've heard some rumors about SEC. I know Clemson is another school that is also potentially thinking of moving conferences as well. I've even thought about potentially moving Stanford and Cal back over to the Pac-12. But technically, they do have a contract through, I believe it's 2036. So we'll see. There will be changes made throughout this series just to keep what we're seeing in real life. A lot of ebb and flow when it comes to conference shenanigans, to be quite honest. But before we really get going into today's depth of this series, we are going to quick wrap up the season and talk about the plans this offseason. Starting at quarterback, Mason Kelsey. I think he really was a core player for this team, but is a player I am concerned about moving forward. The good news with him is we are meeting the play time dramatically. A+. We are good there. He's an impact dev guy, and he carried this team in a lot of big games. When the running game, traditional running game, wasn't working out, we had to rely a bit more on the option plays. But Mason Kelce, his accuracies are not going to get any better. Because as of right now, we do not have the coaching points to get the chance at potentially seeing a boost here to his caps. So right now, he is stuck where he is. 79 medium throw power, 74 short, with 63 deep. Now, the deep ball still played very well in the game, at least when it comes to MAC games. We had the tougher competition. That is where the weaknesses very much showed. So while I really do like Kelce's play, and barring any sort of craziness that does happen in this offseason, he should be the starting quarterback into the next year. There is a little bit of that concern. But those ratings did pan out for a little bit over 3,200 passing yards, 30 touchdowns. The 15 interceptions were where we saw the inaccuracies. And most of the time, they weren't horrific inaccuracies. They were just a little bit off, a little bit high, a little bit outside. That did lead to some turnovers for sure. But it wasn't him throwing the ball directly to defenders, which was great. We did not see much of Rule Tomlinson at all. And you could see his deal breaker is not being met. I hope he does look to transfer, because he is not a quarterback that fits our scheme whatsoever. We did not see any of the true freshmen, and he very much is not enjoying his time here at Kent State, because playing time is big for him. He was our one and only 3-star we brought in season 1, and it looks like he could very well be on his way out, which is unfortunate because he does have the better caps when it comes to his accuracies. That could greatly improve. The arm strength wouldn't, but the accuracies would. So it's a little bit of a give and take with the two quarterbacks, but only time will tell what happens with the passing game for us. Running game is also one that's set to see a pretty dramatic change. Aiden Harris, he stepped in this year. Maybe saw a handful of carries at most last year. Pretty much didn't see the field with Gavin Garcia. In fact, he had 7 carries last year. He stepped in this year, 189 carries, over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns on the ground. He averaged 77 yards a game, just short of 6 yards a carry. He was a phenomenal player for us, and I'm sure the Eagle Eyes would have seen his deal his deal breaker is most definitely not being met, the brand exposure. And what's even worse for us is the way it's looking right now, we might be missing out on the entirety of our running back room this offseason, depending on how many do look to end up transferring. Because if we go through here, we're not meeting the deal breaker for Gaines and for Martin. Those are the only 2 running backs we have seen. They haven't been all too impressive, but still not great. Martin might end up looking to stick around. Hicks, he's most likely going to be on his way out, and the 2 freshmen that we have redshirted also look to be potentially on their way out. Now, Martin, if he does end up looking to stay, which the playing time does seem to be at least okay for him, surprisingly. He was the better backup running back than Gaines, but he might be the only guy returning next year, so it could be interesting. We did have 1 freshman or high school player commit to us at running back. Got okay ability here in terms of improving the hands, the power, looseness, quickness. Route running is capped, IQ is capped, so ball carrier vision isn't going to get any better, awareness isn't going to get any better, but the other ratings might. Really hoping speed is one of those. We don't have that top-end speed here at running back, which is why we relied so heavily on Tank Hawkins this year, which is a good transition back over to the stats for Hawkins. In terms of running the ball, he only had 20 carries. But those 20 carries were a first down per attempt, 4 touchdowns, all of which would have been the assuming 20-plus yard runs. He had 4 broken tackles, but really he's a speed guy. Phenomenal player for us. About week 3 and on is when they finally start to get him going. And he ends up with near 1,700 yards this year in total with 21 touchdowns. He is the Blitnikoff winner for us this year. 21.3 yards a reception. He averaged over 100 yards a game. we saw Carrion kind of build his momentum as the season went along, and towards the end, he was very much becoming a steady part of the offense. He looks to return. Hawkins looks to return. I don't imagine Hawkins declares to the draft as an 80 overall, but as a Blitnikoff winner, it would be fun to see if he tried. Dakota Taylor, he really came along. About halfway through the season, he started for us at tight end, and he played great. Really like Taylor. He might look to transfer, so that is really unfortunate. We'll try to see if we can keep him around. Harris got involved in the receiving game. He, again, might be on his way out. Hassman does look to return. He had some big plays for us, and he was not the starter in the slot. That was Trevor Rogers, who had less receptions, less yards, less touchdowns, and he also might be looking to transfer because playing time for him isn't what he's looking for. Hopperton, he's going to graduate, so that really doesn't matter. But it looks like we should be returning at least our top 3 receivers, and then hopefully we can convince Dakota Taylor to come back. Otherwise, tight end's going to be a big need for us in the transfer portal. Offensive line-wise, they actually played pretty decent for what their overalls are. I mean, this team does not have a high overall offensive line. 3 of the 5 starters all were 70 or lower overall. So the fact that they did as good as they did in the MAC, I give them big props for. They were a weakness for us in those big games, mostly the interior. We have to look to strengthen the interior, and hopefully the few players that we do have sticking around will actually see some good growth. A lot of the backups for us on the offensive line are going to be looking to transfer. Getting to the defensive side, Grayson Howard, what a season for him. Tellender as well had a phenomenal year. But Grayson Howard took home the Nagurski, the Dick Butkus, and there was one other one that he also took home. A phenomenal year for Grayson Howard. Unfortunately, he is a senior. He could be a player drafted. I would imagine 5th to 7th round, given he's an 86 overall. But 103 tackles for him, 26 tackles for a loss, 5.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, and on top of that, he deflected 12 passes, he forced 3 fumbles, didn't recover any, and it doesn't look like he had a defensive touchdown. No, he did not, but he was definitely involved time and time again. Tellender, his teammate, also will be, or tag team partner, I should say. Everyone here are teammates, but his tag team partner is going to be graduating as well. 102 tackles for him. They share the same 26 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks, didn't force as many fumbles. And then Colin Gill. He was a player I was so excited for in the middle stretch of the season. He was playing great. He was wrecking havoc. And then the last few games, he very much just let up. Hoping that if we get this last 2 boosts here to the play coverage or pass coverage, we'll see him start to make those plays a little bit more. See the run blocker or run support go up a little bit of the power as well. But really, I think the difference between the team making the big plays and winning us those big games came down to the IQ. And unfortunately for Gill, that is capped out. Still think he could be an impressive player for us in this next season. He finished with 95 tackles, 10 for a loss. Did not have an interception. Felt like he did. I know he forced some fumbles, only counting 1, but he did recover 3. And he had a defensive touchdown. So, I mean, he was still making a lot of plays for us, despite not getting the interceptions, which this team in general did not really do. Go over one more here. Harris, another transfer for us in that last offseason. 82 tackles, 10 more for a loss. Safeties definitely stepped up. And Joel Cordoba is one of the 2 corners that I was trying to build this defense around. And his deal breaker is also not being met. He finished with 67 tackles, 7 tackles for a loss, 1 interception. He deflected apparently only 3 passes. Felt like it might have been a little bit more, but these games are very weird in how they do end up counting what's a broken up pass and what is not. He has some decent caps. Would maybe see upgrades for 2, maybe that 3rd year. Definitely has room to improve, but that's only if we could keep him around. And I'm hoping we will have a good amount of convincing options when we get to that stage. As for the TFL leaders, it is Howard and Tellender. Jalen Thompson finished with 23 TFLs, 10.5 sacks. The transfer really played well again up until those last handful of games. He kind of disappeared. We had Bush, who stepped up again late in the season, but in those last two kind of disappeared. He had 18 TFLs, 9.5 sacks. He should be sticking around for this next year. And he even had an interception, which is pretty cool. Elijah Fall should be sticking around as well. 7 sacks for him, 15 TFLs, and I think we need to find ourselves a good run stopper. Moving forward here for the defensive tackle group, Mason Maddox will be graduating. He finishes his senior year with 7 TFLs, 4 sacks. And we did have a tie for the top, Rollison being one of those other corners that I'm looking to build around. And as you see, the deal breaker again, good spot for us. He is not going to look to leave as of right now. Hopefully we could keep building that playing time being well for him, though I plan to address corner and DB just in general in this offseason. That's going to be heavy focus when we get to the transfer portal. His man and zone can still improve. His quickness can still improve a little bit. The hands would be great. 76 catching, but really not that many interceptions, only 2. Run stopping can very much improve. So a lot of progress here for Rollison, who has been starting since he was a redshirt freshman. He's still the leader right now of the cornerback group. I'm hoping big improvement for him, plus some added talent around, and we'll be able to do a little bit more. And that would mean replacing Stockstill, who does like the playing time, at least for right now. But he's slow, and he did not help us out, I feel like, as much as he did hinder us. 10 pass deflections. There were still quite a few touchdowns. I wish they kept track of how many catches, how many touchdowns were given up, because he got beat deep. Seemed like time and time again. As for the kicking game, the 1-year wonder for David Olano, he will be graduating. He went 13 of 16 on his field goals, a long of 58. Missed 1 extra point this year. Were any of them blocked? Does it even keep track? It does. Apparently none were blocked. Extra point, though, the one missed was blocked. So he was still pretty solid for us at kicker. He will be missed. We'll have to find a replacement this year. Currently do not have one. Might be another transfer target for us. But as we were talking about there are definitely a lot of players who are going to look to leave. We talked about all the quarterbacks, talked about all the running backs. Bailey, he's a player who also might look to transfer, and I am okay with that, because my plan this offseason is to try to find more of a belldozer at running back. If he has some blocking ability, great, but I want to find a truck-style running back to plug in at the spots that Bailey was playing, because he just wasn't helping out much in the triple option, which is why I think we were forced in pitching it so often, because Bailey really wasn't helping us out there. And when the few times he did get a catch, he would maybe get like 2-3 yards on a play that could have hit for more. So if he does look to transfer, I think we're going to be pretty happy with that. Talked a little bit about some of the top-end receivers. Wayne Harris still looking to stick around, though Trevor Rogers is not. Fisher's also looking to leave. Jackson Amos looking to leave. I mean, most of the backups here are going out the door if the game lets them all leave. Armin Hay, one of the freshmen we brought in last year, might look to stay. Mayo, though, does not. They are very low overall, so unless there is a massive upgrade for them, they probably wouldn't see the field anyway. Caps aren't really all too impressive either. We talked about Dakota Taylor. We talked about Hopperton. As for the other tight ends, Tommy Arnold may look to stick around. We're barely meeting that playing time for him. Davenport, probably not. And barely meeting the playing style as well for Sammy Magnum, the red-shirted sophomore tight end. So if Taylor does not stick around, and honestly, even if he does, we still might have to look to address tight end in this offseason. The starters on the offensive line mostly seem to stick around. We have 2 possible starters with Wilson and Michaels. LaBelle probably going to be on the way out. Left guard Aldridge barely staying again for now. The redshirt freshman looks to be on his way out. Mahoney, again, barely meeting that one. The backups, not too promising. Valles probably headed on his way out. Frederick Avant might stay. Right guard Jackson Dunn, one of the few starters who is not too impressed with the team right now. The brand exposure is very much hurting us, which is why there was that consideration of moving up, just to help that conference prestige, and then with that, hopefully try to build that brand exposure a little bit more, which would help if we could get a national televised game, which, talking about playing 2 ACC teams and 2 Big Ten teams, that could help us out there. But as it stands right now, we might have to convince Dunn to stick around. His backup might stay, though, in Spencer German. He's just nowhere close to the same overall. Nair Daniels was a transfer for us last year. He enjoyed his time. J. Brown Baldwin did actually start, I believe, at the left tackle or right tackle spot. Those two, one of them was playing on the other tackle spot. Rollins, though, the backup, did not enjoy his time on the bench. He might be looking to leave. Thompson's graduating. Gunter looks to stay. The backups, the red shirts, not looking to. As for Bush, he looks to stay. So does Roy. But the backups split. Mevis might look to stay, but a 60 overall may not help us out anyway. Fall, we should be good. Maddox is graduating. Nelson looks to stay. Burgess looks to stay. In fact, most of these DTs are looking to stay. A couple of the guys down the board, maybe not, but they're down the board. Tellender graduating. Buchanan looks to stay, as well as Holiday. The outside linebackers like it here. The inside linebackers, not so much. With Howard graduating, Jordan's looking to leave. Brackens might have to step up, or potentially transfer or rookie. Freshman Abu Hamde. He should be seeing some more playing time stepping into his senior season. And what a showing for him. I believe it was the conference championship game. We had an injury to Jalen Thompson, and he went and played edge rush. He got a sack, a lot of quarterback hits. He came out to help his team. Massive respect, and he can still see a good amount of improvement as well. Though with the lack of playing time this year, I'm not sure how much of an improvement he's really going to see. As for Brown, he looks to stay, as well as Donald. Cornerback room, Rollison staying, Stockstill is staying. Bivens looks to be on his way out. So might Cordoba. He's one that I'm going to try to convince to stay. Jackson is looking to stay. Duggar's looking to stay. Not Killebrew. As for the free safeties, Gill staying. Tucker is not, and he's really the primary backup safety for us. Meeks also not looking to stick around. Harris will be graduating. Bishop looks to leave. Robinson, right now, should be staying. See how much he grows. Butler, though, the faster safety, is looking to leave, but we did actually get quite a few safeties to commit. So we're looking at least decent there. And the punter in Jacob Ulrich looks to stay, as Alano, the kicker, will be graduating. So that is the season wrapped up and what it looks like for us as we really kickstart here our off season. And that starts with early signing day, where we have actually had a couple more players commit than the last time you guys got to see. I believe those two are Khalil East, a thumper middle linebacker. Whether he stays at that spot is going to depend on what the ratings look like, what the transfer portal looks like. And Sam Battles, a field corner. So we add some help to a group that is pretty thin. But we talked about potentially all but one quarterback leaving. Well, Bernie Boger has decided to head on in to Kent State. That's, I think, another one who was not included in the last update. Running back-wise, we did bring in an elusive bruiser. Now, potentially, Harbor could fit that trucking-style role we are looking to take over for Bailey. But at 5'8", 195 pounds, I'm not too sure. Still going to take a look at the transfer portal. Receiver-wise, we are still trying to bring in one in George Theory. With so many transfers coming in last year at that spot, it wasn't a focus. Corbin McNulty could be a big gain for us if we can finally convince him to commit. We'll see if Ball State continues their push in this offseason. Sometimes they just kind of give up. Offensive line-wise, we haven't touched it. We're going to rely a lot on transfers for the offensive line. And I think similarly for the defensive tackles. But on the edges, we already have three-star commits committing at edge. And on top of that, we might get another 2-star coming in. So far, we're the only one that have recruited him whatsoever. At DT, we do have Damian Roan heading in, a speed rusher, and James Tejeda, a power rusher. I want to find a true run stopper because we didn't really have that this year. If the linebackers and the safeties weren't playing well in the box, we were giving up big runs, so we need help with that up front. Outside linebacker-wise, or Will, I guess, apparently that's all that we've brought in. Komar has decided to come. We're looking for Gee. We're looking for Coxie or Coxie. Funch has decided to go elsewhere. Still might need to look for a transfer or two at that spot to pair with Abu Hamde. Mike linebacker, we do have Jones and East who have decided to come in. See how well they fill in that linebacker group. Who at Mike, again, we saw so many players were looking to leave. Cornerback, we are locked out here playing style-wise, and that's not going to improve. So it looks like we'll be not in on not. But Lavore, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not. He, again, favoring us right now. No one else has tried. We saw Battles join. Safeties Trask and Iverson. And at the other safety spot, we also have Natson, Bartu, going to a rival. We'll see him at some point, I'm sure. So overall, it's a pretty promising class for us. Last time I checked, I want to say we were around 50 or 60. See where we are here past it. Coming in at 58 here to start the off season. And that is overall. If we go to look at specifically MAC, we are in front just by a hair above Buffalo. It really is the two of us going back and forth for control of the MAC. With no recruiting or anything to do here, bowl week 1. We saw a little bit of the job offers. Coach Ty is getting some bigger teams looking at him, but obviously we are staying put, as are all of our assistant coaches or our coordinators. They are sticking around this year as well, mostly because it was a good year, and in conference championship week, we didn't fire them. I wish that was an option after the season, but it's still not quite there. And we'll save the coaching points until we get to the actual offseason. Then we'll decide if we have any good spots to put them in there. But that just about all we have to do. Don't really know if there's any big staff moves to look at here. Alabama has fired Kalen DeBoer. So is he going back to Washington? Or is he gone? Michigan also fired theirs. Arkansas, they wanted us to come be their head coach. That is because their coach retired in Pittman. Have anyone from Stanford fired their head coach in Wheeler? All right, then Stanford. Washington's defensive coordinator retired. Maybe DeBoer can go back and be a DC. But it doesn't look like any big updates for any of our competition. Ohio fired their head coach, and that was it. So the MAC was pretty chill in terms of staff changes up to this point. We'll get on, find out who our national champion is going to be. Obviously talked about all the players potentially transferring. We had the max amount transfer last time. Imagine if that's going to be the same case as we get the MAC Offensive Player of the Week, Tank Hawkins, rounding out his time, at least for last year, strong. Hopefully, we'll come back with a vengeance next year. We'll just keep on moving on with nothing for us to do here to close out the season. Who do you guys think is going to be the national champion here in Season 2? No offers or anything for Coach Carousel. All right. Yeah, nothing to really do here, so we'll just go on then to Week 4. Conference Championship Week. Or I say Conference Championship Week. National Championship Week. Who is playing in the Natty, though? Ohio State and UCLA, which does remind me we do have to go over some of the other awards that we did not talk about. We'll do that rather quickly. And All-Americans as well. The Heisman winner is out of Texas Tech, Brendan Sorsby. Senior quarterback, pocket passer. What was his stats to close out the year? 4,000 passing yards, 41 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Ran the ball for about 500 more yards. All right, then Arch Manning finishes second just under 4,000 yards, 37 touchdowns to 1 interception, about 600 rushing yards. Not anyone from UCLA, Tank Hawkins finished the year on the Heisman voting list. I feel like we should get something from that. Some sort of boost to that brand exposure, perhaps. That's massive. As for the award winners, Maxwell Award does go to Sorsby. Tank Hawkins was on that list. Walter Camp also goes to Sorsby. Hawkins again on that list. Bear Bryant does not go to Ty Rozeboom. Instead, it goes to Georgia Southern, coming in at number 25's head coach in Des Kitchings. So perhaps if we finished the year a little bit stronger, we would have been a bit higher up on this list. The O'Brien does go to Sorsby. He brought them all home. We saw about that's what it was. The Benaric was the one I didn't think of earlier. But a great year for Grayson Howard. I hope he gets drafted. That will massively help us out as well. Jim Thorpe goes to Texas's Randon Fontenette, if I'm again pronouncing that correctly. Doak Walker, Abu Sama. There's a lot of these names I'm probably butchering, and if these are your names, apologize. Blitnikoff does go to Tank Hawkins. Trey White, so UCLA in the Natty. They finally have someone winning an award. It is the Lombardi. And Sorsby back again with the Johnny Unitas Arm Award. Trey White back again for Edge Rusher of the Year. I don't think any of our guys were in the voting. Actually, Britton Bush did crack that list. Credit to him. Outland Trophy does go to Alabama's center in Brailsford. John Mackey, tight end. Endries from Texas. And no love for our guy. The Broyles Award for your coordinators does go to, again, both Georgia Southern. Our guys were on the list at 5 and 6. Hopefully that means they are sticking around. Butkus obviously went our way. Remington does go to Brailsford. Lou Groza goes to Zamitis? It's a fun name, though. He was a freshman, too. Massive love for the freshman kicker. Ray Guy Award goes to Jackson Smith, the man with 2 last names out of Western Kentucky. Jet Award is a running back from Illinois and Cam Wallace. That is another position that I do want to address, same as we did in the Giants offseason yesterday, was to find a true returner for us in this next year. Tavian St. Clair, quarterback BYU, takes the Sean Alexander Award for the Freshman of the Year. We had Mason Kelsey on that list as a redshirt freshman, probably too many interceptions. And when we get back to the Maxwell. So all in all, pretty happy to get Kent State on these lists. That should, if this was realistic, help us out a long way in getting a little bit more people interested here in Kent State. As for the All-Americans, first team national, we do get Tank Hawkins as the number 1 receiver. And we get some linebacker action in Tellender and Howard. Great seeing that for national team. Second team, nobody. Freshman. Not too promising. Nobody. As for the MAC first team, we do not get our quarterback, but Aiden Harris is there. Hawkins is there. Jake Michaels is there. So that answers, I guess, where he was playing. We got Jalen Thompson there, Britton Bush, Tellender, Howard. Stock still is on the list. I don't know what games they were watching, but they were not watching ours. Second team, there is Kelsey. We also get Nair Daniels on the list. Shamar Riser Presley, he was a great player. Colin Gill cracks the second team. And freshman Mason Kelsey makes that one as well. And we also get Joel Cordoba. Hopefully he sticks around. But again, for Kent State and their history, this really was a phenomenal year. We just didn't walk away with the trophies. So that has to be a focus next year. We need to bring those trophies on home. Right, we checked them all there. Yeah, so we all should be good there. Any last any last ideas now that we know who it's going to be between Ohio State, UCLA Bruins? Place your bets. We'll find out rather shortly here. Simming into the off season. And it's an extra level up for coach, so that'll just give us more points. Now, who is the national champion? College football 26 history update. And it does go to Ohio State. 41-38. Massive there. I did not imagine that it would be the Bruins winning that one, or even just being involved in the game. But here's how it all broke down, and I'll go ahead and take my face off of this for a moment to catch the game behind. Clemson taken out by UCLA in the first round. Tennessee gets by Texas Tech and the Heisman-winning quarterback 38-24. Tulane falls to Notre Dame 27-21. Nebraska knocks out the Georgia Bulldogs in the round one 31-28. Will get me back involved. UCLA also takes out Penn State 27-10. You got Tennessee taking out OU 42-30. Notre Dame falls to Ohio State in a close game. It was not overtime, it was just close. Would have loved to see an overtime safety, if that's even possible, win a game. Nebraska by 4 points takes out Arch Manning and Texas. And then in the semifinals, UCLA beat Tennessee, who was putting up points in every single game until they faced the Bruins defense, 35-17. Ohio State in a 6-point ball game took out Nebraska, and in a close game, perhaps last second, overtime walk-off touchdown for Ohio State. They are back on top of the college football landscape. Not too bad. I wonder how much it cost them to build their defense. Julian Sands still rocking around there. He had 322 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, only 54. 54. Switch those around in my head, but I said it correctly. James Peoples averaging 5.7 yards a carry. Sayin didn't have a rushing touchdown. 100 yards for Jeremiah Smith. He might be headed to the NFL this year. At least should be. 2 touchdowns for him. 87 yards on 3 catches, for Tate. And then 56 on 3 for Porter, another touchdown. Defensive line-wise, or defensively, just in general, only 5 tackles for a loss in that game, 1 sack, 1 interception. As for UCLA, 2 interceptions coming from a safety and corner, 1 sack, and only 3 TFLs. So the defense definitely was not putting in work in this one. And perhaps a bit of a bounce-back year for Nico. 210, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, but 61% complete. The rushing coming in from Thomas at 4.5 yards, a touchdown. Also got Carson Cox, 6.6 a carry and a touchdown. No one really dramatically performed, but they just seemed to spread the ball out a little bit. And give love to the tight end, leading in receptions and yards, but it is Matthews with the 2 receiving touchdowns. And Thomas Sua with 1 as well at tight end. Big tight end game. Probably would have been a fun game to watch if you like offense. 41-38. It's the Buckeyes taking Seasons 2 national championship. Now, do they have the same screen in Madden? Can you go back to last year too? No. At least not from that screen. There it is. That's what I want to see here. So last year, it was Michigan, and they just fired their head coach after a bad season coming off that natty. But it is Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State. So that means Michigan and their new head coach might just be the one to beat. And I wonder if that means we should play Michigan and Ohio State. Let me know. Start leaving your guys' idea. Again, I want to play 2 Big Ten teams and 2 ACC teams in our non-conference games. I want to test to see where this team is at, because if we do perhaps go on and win the conference, win a bowl game, if we're back again in conversation for playoffs like we were this year, then I think after season 3 it would be time to move up. Do we have already our progress being made? I don't know if we could see it anywhere to see if we went up in prestige. You might just have to wait on that. Looks to be the case. All right, so we'll just get on then to the following week. See what we've got in store for us here in this offseason. This is really where it's going to begin. Even though we've been here already for 40 minutes. A lot of information to go over in an offseason. We finish as the 105th ranking in terms of the top schools. So still very much a lot of work to do to build that. The players leaving. This is where it really sets the stage for how the rest of the offseason is going to go. Now, good news, we know that Tank Hawkins already wants to stick around. Our quarterback wants to stick around. Harris, though, looks to leave. Dakota Taylor might look to leave. Trying to think of some other big ones that might look to leave. Some of our offensive line might. I think those are Cordoba at corner might also look to leave. Dunn on the offensive line. One of those starters might look to leave. And we will have quite a lot of players looking to transfer away. But big note, take a look up at the top. Above Aiden Harris, we have 8 chances to persuade. So that is pretty big for us. That is pretty big. Just about as big as this list is. Now, do we have anyone who might look to go to the draft? No. So they do not have a draft prediction for Grayson Howard, despite taking home 3 awards. He might be a UDFA. That would be surprising. He's not size comparison-wise, but might be similar to, why can I now not think of his name? Vikings linebacker, Ivan Pace. Ivan Pace Jr. Could that be a similar situation? Someone picks him up, UDFA, and has a plug-and-play starting linebacker in the NFL? That would be interesting. But we got to decide who we want to try to bring back. And at quarterback, extremely low to try to keep a Nunwa here. We do have one quarterback coming in, so we would either have to try to find another high schooler. Ooh, big note, now we do see it. Under Golden Flashes, we are now a 1.5-star program. So we went up a full star this year, not even winning the MAC, nor winning a bowl game. I wonder if we would have been a 2-star if we did win either one of those games. But that should mean more points for us. It's probably also why we have 8 persuasions. A Nunwa could be big for us. Only 2 running backs do look to potentially move on. I think we could look to bring back Harris. I would like more speed, though, at running back. And his career health is already past halfway as a sophomore. So that is a bit concerning, but it hasn't updated the years yet, so he would be a junior. Something to consider there. Receiver-wise, I'm perfectly fine with all these guys transferring away. Perfectly fine. Taylor, very low, but not extremely low. I think this is the first one that we go after here. Though he's not looking too hot either in terms of his health either. So how many times can I say either? But I do want to try to persuade Taylor. So our first conversation here to bring back our starting tight end. And he will not be coming back. I don't think I really want to try to persuade Davenport either. He just doesn't, from what I remember, doesn't seem to match what we were looking for. I need someone with a bit more speed. Hopperton's lack of speed actually caused more interceptions last year than he did actually help us. And he's got 73 speed. Yeah, Davenport can look to move on then. The bell can go low overall, guys, here. Dunn, very low. Might look to bring him back as well. We will try to persuade. Can we go 1 for 2 here? No. 0 for 2, and now we're missing a starter on the offensive line. Thompson graduates. Maddox graduates. Surprisingly, not really any of the linebackers looking to leave. Arthur Jordan, redshirt freshman. Is he someone that we feel like needs to stay? 70 overall, normal dev, and those caps are horrific. No, he can move on. Does work both ways. Very low here for Joel Cordoba. And he is a guy I do want to bring back. 1 for 3. Come on, third time is the charm. Cordoba is out of here. And I'm not going to try to bring back a 58 overall. Tucker extremely low. Knowing us, he would be the one that would actually consider coming back. And we do have an opening at safety. Tevin Tucker, 1-star coverage specialist. You can still see some improvement to the coverage, both man and zone. His quickness can improve, which he does need a bit more speed. Run support can also improve, but the tackling is not at a bad spot, nor is the hit power. He could play some strong safety. Catching is actually really good. He might be able to force some turnovers for us, which we didn't get this year. Extremely low for Tevin Tucker, but we have 5 more chances. Tucker is not coming back here either. So that is a big miss. I think in that instance then, since we're not landing any of these guys, are you still going to let me? No, it's still okay. It just seems to be a little bit of a glitch there, but no. How about Harris? Harris coming back? That's also a no. I guess it turns white when you can't persuade him anymore. Hicks, I'm good with him moving on. He was slow. Anunwa, extremely low. And very much leaving. Well, I don't think there's anyone else we need to necessarily bring back. So no one decides to return here for Coach Ty. And in general, we are losing out on $20 transfers on top of everyone else who was already set to graduate. So we're losing quite a lot of people. It's anywhere from about 35 to 40 people. We got a lot of spots to fill. A lot of spots. All right, well, now we know what we got to do. We got to go hard in the transfer portal. And to help us with that, is there anything we could do here in recruiting? Just to try to help swing some things. We can, if we get to that 3rd level, Portal King. So I'm thinking we're definitely going to need some running backs. We're going to need offensive linemen. So we are going to invest 16 points here into the offensive line, which will also help us out for next season as well, getting that increased initial start. And we really could use full or corner as well. We only have 14 more points, so we'll just take off some time when it comes to scouting. Because next year I do want to focus a little bit more on finding gems rather than just anyone with interest, which was what we had to do as a 0-star program. And with the house rules, we could also recruit high school players now up to 3 stars unlimited. As a reminder, 2 stars higher than our overall, we could bring in as many as we want. We could bring in 1 player 3-star or higher, meaning we could try to go after a 4-star for high schoolers. Transfers are wide open for anyone who considers going to Kent State. So there's your reminder for you, which is why that prestige was so big. And we can move on from the players leaving and the sadness of no one wanting to help continue to build here at Kent State. At least from the few starters that are looking to leave. And we already have other guys considering to leave next year. Always love that screen. All right, here it is. Transfer portal. Off-season recruiting. If there's a player you want to see us go after, leave it in the comments right now. As for these high school guys, most of the time, no one goes after them from what I've seen. So we're not going to put much stock into any of these guys. We'll keep an eye on Corbin McNulty. In fact, just to try to help get that commit here after week 1, we're going to offer him up 5 points. That is it for high school. We got to focus here on the transfer portals, and with that, we need to shed some weight here. So everyone who decided to go elsewhere, you can get off the list. I don't know if we should keep him. He's JUCO Junior. We'll pull him off the list as well. Bunches, you're gone. And that leaves us 15 transfer positions. And corner and offensive line are going to be the biggest push for us. Because we need a starter at corner. We need starters on the offensive line. So just in total. Or I guess we could break it down here. Doubt there's going to be any. There is one 5-star transfer out of Florida in Mensa. 4 stars, a whole lot more. No one with initial interest in us. We'll see if there are any 4 stars available maybe in that last set of offers. Because if no one has offered and we do, maybe they do join. But there are quite a few 3 stars who are interested in joining Kent State, which is great to see. One thing I am very interested in checking, though, is looking specifically at Ohio State and their transfers. I feel like us being the savior of failed Ohio State players could actually be pretty fitting. I thought I hit a button there, but apparently not. Okay. I think I scrolled the wrong way. Stanford has quite a few people leaving. That's just 3 stars. All right. Yeah, apparently I should have went from top down. Ohio State, reigning national champions. They do have a corner, boundary corner, transfer freshman, and Lorenzo Galladay. Welcome to the board. One of our starters just left and already has interest. Logan George. We'll add him, an edge rusher. Quarterback, Greg Hodges. Another transfer, backfield creator. Feel like he might have some speed then. And since the career and season health here is all green, I'm assuming that they're fine then. And I might have just misread one of those earlier. But we're going to add the Ohio State guys. And on top of that, let me double check something. Because I always forget where this school is. Yeah, it is Ohio. You never know. Sometimes there's a school named after a place in one state that you think that is where they are, but they're actually in another state. We're going to try to be the savior of the fallen heroes from the Power 4 Ohio schools. Cincinnati. You have quite a few players looking to transfer. Another edge rusher with interest. We'll take a look at Jackson Howard. Another quarterback in Dante Young, a dual threat. More than welcome to join. And Patrick Williams, a bump and run corner. You're also added to the board. So then in total that has us with edge rushers, quarterbacks, and corners. Yes, it does. So that is 2 corners, 2 quarterbacks, 2 edge rushers. We need to find some offensive linemen. And then we could break it down by just specific wants and needs. Talked about bringing in a bell kind of running back. We now just need running back in general, to be quite honest. Let's start with, I think Mahoney did end up staying, so we don't necessarily need to find the starter, but I'm definitely wanting to see what all of the options are, especially when there are so many. And since there is a guy high up on this board who already has interest from Penn State, Trent Norton Jr., raw strength, you're on the board. Guard, we could look to add 2 potentially here, and there are plenty of options. Purdue, Alabama, Michigan. And you're going to test me with some of these names. Vi Salavea? Maybe. Hey, if you commit, I will learn your name. Raw strength, well-rounded in Jabari Okoye. Again, doing my best to assume here on these pronunciations. And Marquise Easley, that one's a little bit easier. As for tackles, again, because we just need as best of guys as we could bring in. Stanton Ramil will join, or have you join, hopefully. Pass protector, left tackle, that fits. And out of Kentucky, another raw strength freshman from Pawpaw, Michigan. It's a great name. And that leaves us with 3 more spots. So now we need to get a bit more specific. And with the specificity, I would like to find someone with some speed. Can we even do that on the search anymore? That's one thing I do miss from NCAA 14. You used to be able to search for guys based off of speed, how much they were benching or squatting. But it doesn't seem like that's an option here. What we could do is look at specific types. So not looking for contact seeker. Okay. Maybe an east-west playmaker then would be someone with a bit more speed. Yeah. So what we got with this search? There are options. Obviously, I would love some 4 stars, but we're not going to press our luck right now. Running back at a TCU. 5'10", 182 pounds. It fits the stereotype of our running back so far. Could be an option. What did he do last year? Not much of anything. Looks like we did. Okay. There is a running back from Syracuse who, again, similar style build, though closer to 200, but again, didn't get that many carries. From New Mexico, Darian Dupree. Did at least a little bit more than some of the others. Boston College, Hargrave. None of these guys got to see much playing time. Here's a guy who had some playing time. All right, we got Jaquez. I don't know how exactly you would pronounce that one, but Smith from Tampa, Florida, 5'8", 180. He had 181 rushing attempts for 827 yards, wow, where did I even pull a 7? Maybe the edge of the rushing yards. 11 rushing touchdowns, a little bit involved in the receiving game there as well. I'm going to add him to the board. And on top of that, if we clear our search, so there was an easier way of doing that. I guess if you just hit that, that'll work. Sure, search there. I want to see where Harris is at. Would he be a 3-star? Or I guess just in general, if I just go to all for every position, just go to Kent State, I can see if any of the guys that look to transfer from our school would consider coming back. It's just a long scroll. Can you search for your team? No, that would make things a lot easier. Well, as we saw with Madden yesterday, you can't really beg and choose as long as the game works and college football works. Madden, kind of not sometimes. But eventually we'll get down here to Kent State, see if any of our guys want to come back, and it only has 1 listed in Rule Thompson. It's because it's recommended. You guys want to look through the whole list again? So if you are enjoying here and building Kent State, if you have not already, leave a like either on the stream or on the video thereafter. And if you're watching on your phone or tablet on the YouTube app, you could hit the hype button. And that also very much goes to helping these small channels. As we get back to Kent State, it still only has 1 listed. Love it. At this point, it might have just been able to search for him. There we go. Running backs, and no, we cannot look to bring him back, but they do have him listed as a... So with 2 spots to go, do want to find a power back. I guess in that instance, go back to the search, probably help us out a little bit more. So we want running back I'm feeling either contact seeker, maybe north-south blocker would actually fit a little bit more. If we want him to play some fullback for us, there are options. Kenya Gilmore, coming from Arizona State. 6'1", 212. And he only had 3 attempts for 2 yards last year. None of these guys really got significant carry. Earl Stoner did get some. So it's a question mark on what these guys really would be able to do. Okay, well, we'll come back to the north-south blocker then. What about contact seeker? What are we looking at there? Few more options. Gabe Winovich. He did at least get some attempts here going. 87 attempts, 440 yards. Can't say he was putting in big work. But compared to some of these other guys, I mean, yeah, he was putting in work at 6'1", 222. Could be an option there for us. Or we go for more of the elusive bruiser. And that's where a lot more guys are going to be. Out of Kentucky, Bill Davis. At 5'9", 235 pounds. That sounds like a fullback. Although it doesn't seem to be as effective as the previous guy we were just looking at. NC State, Jaden Scott. Putting in some work there. And he's actually in a pipeline. Wake Forest, Ty Clark. Now, I think he was injured. I don't think that was the running back we played against. Considering he doesn't have any season stats, doesn't look like he would have been playing anyway. Here's a dude, though. Jalen Dupree. I feel like this name sounds familiar. There might have just been another Dupree. From Benton, Arkansas. Pretty close to where Coach Ty's from. 215 carries, over 1,000 yards, 17 rushing touchdowns. I think that's the guy we go after. And now we could focus our last spot here for the targets then. On the defensive tackle. More so nose tackles, what I'm looking for. Gap specialist or pure power. Let's go gap specialist. I want a guy who we could just stick in the middle. And there's a guy who has interest in us already. At 6'6", 335 pounds, Bobby Ellington from Georgia Tech. He had only 3 tackles for a loss. With no interest in us, but fits what we're looking for. We got Sean Seviano Jr., Notre Dame. Out of Ohio, Tyler Jackson. 5 tackles for a loss. What was his tackles for a loss at Notre Dame? Didn't play. NC State didn't do anything either. I think we'll give a shot here to Bobby Ellington. Now, obviously, we haven't found any sort of linebackers there either, and we are full up on our board. So we have a decision to make if we really need to go after all these edge rushers. And considering how many that we actually had join us as 3 stars, perhaps we shouldn't focus on these transfers. So I'm going to take the transfers off for edge rush. And we need to find some linebackers. I think that makes a little bit more sense. So we don't really need to search for the linebackers. We'll just see what linebackers are there. More specifically, Mike linebacker from any state. Preferably ones that do have interest in coming here. 1 3-star. Okay, what about outside linebacker? Anything better? There are some. What if we just look at the 3s? Okay, that looks a little bit better. I think we focus on the 3s. Then was there still only 1 3? There was only 1 3. Anthony Polano, a lurker linebacker, come from Washington State, ranked 981. For an outside linebacker, you got perhaps Sam Green, a thumper at 6'2", 250 from Kentucky. What did you do last year? 35 tackles, 9 sacks. That could be a pretty promising replacement then for someone like Tellender. Toss him on the board at the same time as we take a look at Von Ingold. Didn't get playing time, but he's a freshman, so probably I'm imagining he was redshirted. Take a gamble then on the Miami man, and that is our board completely full here. So now we have to decide how we spread is what I almost said. Spread these points. We have 600 now to work with. And with all these guys, we know they are good enough that we can just straight up offer them a scholarship. Also did hear that now off-season visits do matter. You do want to try to get them obviously matched up with the positive players or the matching players or positions. So not have two quarterbacks come in on 1 week, but have like quarterback, maybe receiver. We did not look at tight ends. Might need to offer to a tight end late. Because right now the board is full. So we'll see how the first round does and we'll adjust there. But yeah, find the promising comparative positions. I don't know why I can't think of the actual term for it. But yeah, so off-season visits do matter. That is not a transfer. Okay, so we'll just start with the transfers then here. We got 520 points. And in fact, can we just give 25 to all? But we still have some spare room. Gotta find out where we land here with these guys now that we have more points. We'll just go down the list here, offering up that 25. If we find a guy that we feel like we want to go after more, we could look to pull and push some points around a little bit. I definitely want to make sure we're not skipping out on offensive line this year. Make sure we're focusing on corner as well, because those were the two positions we didn't really focus on in last year's transfer class, and they were our two weakest positions this year, by far. And we saw how big of the impact the transfers had for us this year, so definitely want to make sure we're getting these guys in. And it looks like we will have some extra points as well, so we could really focus in on those position needs first. Just got at least the base in here of the 25. And then from there, we could go in position by position. And I think, again, going back to corner and offensive line first, really want to focus there. So here we'll take off the 25 and we'll go with the send the house for these positions. Just, again, wanted to make sure we were doing something with everyone first, and then we could dial things in a bit. So now we got 95 points to work with. And that should leave us enough here to get all the points spread like we want to. Plus, maybe with a little bit left over here, that would be 75. So we are 5 short. So that means for the sophomore then, where do you land? You're actually the highest graded one. And we're in first for some of the other ones. We'll go with the 50 point here. Because also not all of these guys are going to be able to start. You only have 2 guards and a center spot. Unless they're good enough. Well, okay, I guess he's the one that's getting the 25. But you could move some of them over to like tackle if they're good enough in the pass pro. And we'll tack on 15 there. And someone's going to get 5 more points. We need a starter at running back. We'll give it to Smith. How are we looking there? We agree? This is a good setup here. Get a good spread, cover a lot of different positions, areas of need, areas of want. Still should be landing the high school players as well. It doesn't look like anyone else so far has been going after. I guess we just started, so I'm not going to see that yet. We'll find out if anyone else is going after these guys as we sim to week 2 of the transfer portal season. before we do that, draft results. Great Howard goes undrafted. I think we got a little gypped there. We should have had a player drafted in Howard, a 7th round at least. So we're not going to get a boost there to the pro potential for next season. And now we can move on over to week 2. And hopefully find some good news. Well, we're definitely moving up a lot of these boards. That is for sure. How the other current players are going to feel about that, only time will tell with the deal breakers of playing time. Anyone else going after these guys? Just going to check on the high schoolers real quick. Now, we did not get the tight end to commit, so that's a bit unfortunate. Should look to commit, as Ball State did pull their offer. A lot of guys going after Lorenzo Galladay. And we put in the full 50. Now, I don't think we were on his board originally. We definitely have competition. And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to overcome UCF, Florida Atlantic. We might have been able to deal with Troy, although we weren't on the board. So we could try it for another week. And yeah, we're not going to make any way with Greg Hodges. So we're going to pull that one. As for Dante Young, the Bulls on parade here. But we could rival them now as we have some extra points. And he's the dual threat from Akron, Ohio. This is our territory. We'll toss on the 50 there. UCLA putting in a lot of points here for Patrick Williams from South Carolina. Not sure if we're going to be able to pull Foley ahead of this one. Though so far the hard sells don't look too bad. We'll let the competition go one more week. We're looking great, though, for Trent Norton Jr., which also sounds like a great NASCAR name. Like, get that guy on the track. We're going to lessen the points there because we're so far ahead. We're going to keep Salaveye. I think I said it much better the first time. We're going to keep Vey or Vise. I messed up both names. We're going to keep the points there as it is. Same for Jabari here. Keep the points there for Easley. Tough competition here with a 25 given out, but we could look to add a little bit here. Make this a 40 offer. Looking good for Stray. Smith, Temple, pushing hard. But we have more points. We will offer more points. And that should put us in front, or at least close. For the other running back in Dupree, the elusive bruiser, we are in front. In front for Ellington. For Green, it is a closer race at linebacker. Help ourselves out. We'll tack on a little bit there. And Arkansas State doing a little something there for Ingold. We'll toss on 5. And that leaves us with one position and 50 points that we could put in. And we did not look at tight end. So now's a great time to go look at tight end. Anyone have some interest here? Yes. It looks like they're going to be more 3 stars. Didn't think there were any 4 stars yet. No 4 stars interested. So 3 stars of highest rank here. We got JT Clement, a pure blocker. Not interested. A vertical threat in Brady Prieskorn? I think go with Prieskorn. 6'6", 250. Would be a junior. Does have an offer already from Pitt. And he did not seem to play last year. We'll see if we could get in on the run here for the vertical threat. Not sure how much help he's going to be in run blocking. But we're going to give him a try. So we'll get in on the action here. We're going to offer the rest of our points as much at least as we can. Leaving another 5 points on the side. So then for Ingold, we'll switch out the 5 for 10. I think that has us in a good spot for a lot of these guys. We're still going to have some competition, though. It looks like we are inside the top 5, but we don't know all the information. Championship contender. It's a B. We could try this one out here. Take out the send the house. We're going to set up a hard sell here. So this is probably the one that he wants, a conference legend. Conference prestige isn't quite there, but the B plus and the B might be promising. So we're going to toss that in with the 10. And as for the man whose name I kept butchering, no championship contender there, and that is all we know. Considering no one else is going after him right now, I'm not going to risk choosing the wrong one. We're going to learn a little bit more information first. But I think that's a good way to start. Or good way to keep going here. Through week 2, trying to bring in as many transfers as possible. We should be landing our high school recruit here at tight end, which will help us out at that spot. And indeed, we do land Corbin McNulty from Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. 2-star. And I'm not seeing anyone else commit anywhere else, so still looking pretty good. Though not sure we really gained much ground there on the top corner we were looking at. But this will be a good time to tell if we're really going to be in this race or not. And potentially we might. Proximity to home. It's a C. Playing time, though, could be good, but we just don't know anything on him. We can't put in any extra points. We'll come back to Galladay. Young, we have moved in front 4. And he also likes championship contender with some playing time. We'll see what our options are, but we might just be sticking with the send the house there. Yeah, and if it's primetime player, that's not going to look good for us. So, yeah, we are going to stick then with the send the house for Young. It's doing us well enough right now. Williams, not sure we're going to be able to do enough here either. Unless we got a really good set of sells. It looks like we might. We got at least 2 Bs there. Could be aspirational goals. 2 Bs and a D+. Could be brand exposure. Where was that second? There it is. So house call, not brand exposure. Really got to hope that it's conference prestige. Because if we gamble with it and we're wrong, we can miss out on a chance to bring in Patrick Williams. But sometimes you just got to gamble. So we're going to go with the gamble there. And hopefully that pushes us over the edge of UCLA and USC. Still looking good there. Now UAB's coming in, and they did have a pretty good week there on their pitches. Still only know the championship contender, so can't really change that one. Are inside the top 5 here with some information. Championship contender. I think that's one that we could look to switch up on. Keep the points where they are, but still might be a solid enough pitch that would be better than what we were offering. House call for him. And we might be making a house call, trying to set up some recruiting rather shortly. Looking good so far for Easley. Got a B, D+, B+, I think. Yeah, already switched it, and it's correct. Good to see. Close race now here for Ramil. I feel like we were on top of that one last week. Championship contender, conference prestige. See what other ones, because if it is coach prestige, I think we'll be okay. I think it's the same pitch that we've been having to go between. We're going to offer up that one. And just on top of it, we're going to pack on 10 more points. Keep Stray where he is. Smith. We're climbing up here on Temple. Brand exposure not looking great, but playing time is looking good. Championship contender. This is one that we go hard sell. There it is. It's one of the last ones we checked. Primetime player. On top of that, we're still going to keep on the 10 points as we need to overcome Temple. Still looking good for Dupree. Now Liberty's coming in here for Ellington. Playing style would be good. See if we can do a soft sell here. Not that one. Could be standard bearer. That looks to be the case. There we go. With those extra 5, we'll still keep that on there, trying to keep Liberty at bay. Climbing up here, Sam Green. Actually, no, I think we fell a little bit. No, because we were... Either way, we're still in this one. Playing time's big, playing style. I feel like that's the same one that we just gave the other guy. We'll double check. We have points. We don't have points for the hard sell. It was not the one that we just gave. So we like playing time and playing style. Yeah. I'm really hoping it's not clocked in. Could be the clutch. We had a lot of that last year. Could be campus lifestyle. We're going to go with the clutch, and hopefully we come up clutch with that one. Top of that, we'll tack on 5 there. Now, we did jump up here. We are playing around with Michigan and Pitt, but we're not in the lead. We don't have a whole lot of information, though. We have 5 extra points to offer, which is really unfortunate. If we go back, take off the 10, add on the 5. Then we could switch this to a send the house, and that might help us out for at least the next week. See if we are in some of these battles here, and then... Oh, we only have one more week to go, so it doesn't look like we're going to be able to really offer any visits right now because we don't have the points, because we have to put in all these points. Well, it seems like that's a strategy we're going to have to go with. We'll see if it pays off or if it does not as we head into the final week of recruiting. And it looked like I saw one player had potentially committed elsewhere. No, just locked out now for Patrick Williams. Outside of his top 3. So we have some work to do then, still at corner. And this is where some hard decisions are going to have to be made. So Galladay. Looks like we're most likely out on him. There's a visit with Florida Atlantic this week. We're just going to have to pull out. Probably should have pulled out on these corners earlier and went elsewhere. Now we're just going to have to hope we can find some guys who don't have offers. Looks like we're in a good spot for Dante Young. Should be bringing in Norton Jr. We are well in front, but there is a recruiting visit now for with UAB. I think we'll just continue here with the send the house. Can we schedule a visit for this week? No, doesn't look like it. Though that might just be... Okay, so we can schedule visits for this week, as long as they don't have a visit already scheduled. That's good to know. For Ramil, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get this one. UAB has the scheduled visit. They outgrew us in the last week, so we're going to pull that one. We already have several other inside guys, and I think we have most of our starters, plus Stray is still there. We jumped way in front of Temple for Smith. That's big news. No one else has been coming in for Dupree, so we should be landing that one as well. We're going to need to put in some more points here. Let's switch the soft sell to a hard sell. And then on top of that, just to help create some more space, we're going to tack on 10 more there. Liberty going hard there at the close. And I'm not sure we're going to get green here either. Bowling Green playing hard here. Now we could put in a hard sell here. But still, I'm not sure that's going to be enough with the visit for Ball State. So we are going to pull the offer then on green. For Ingold, we don't know enough information. Their playing style is important. That's already the information we have. So for him, we're just going to add on a little bit more. Bump that up. And I don't think we're going to get the tight end there either. Michigan pulling away. So we still have some position needs to take care of here in the final week. So as we then take a look at 4 stars. There are guys who have no offers, but they are not interested in us. Good to know. So let's just do a search then. We need corner. Would be helpful if we could look for guys without offers. So really then doesn't help us in that instance. So we'll just go to corner. Any state. And show us guys with no current offers on the table. And there are at least a couple guys here higher, at least in the first 1,000. So, Keyshed Scott, if Quay is pronounced like key, like the wall. Keyshed? Maybe it's Quayshed. I don't know. But a great size for corner. We're going to add him to the board. No offers for him. Already has interest in us from Kentucky. East Carolina, Key Crowell. So we got Key and we got Keyshed. I feel like that tells me those are the 2 guys we go after. And then at linebacker. No middle linebackers. Okay. No outside linebackers either? Everyone has already been selected. Or is this a search thing? I think it's a search thing. Yeah, okay. I thought I had lost my mind. Any state linebacker. Someone with no offers, preferably 3 stars. Not an option at Mike linebacker. What about outside linebacker? 1 option. Yep, 1 option. Well, that makes it simple for us. Seth McFarland, signal caller from Air Force. Welcome to the board. Top of that, we still need a tight end. And from UMass, pure blocker, no thank you. Physical route runner, Quandre Coates from Wyoming. Already has some interest in us. Welcome to the board. Now, we did take a tackle off that board. We got a quarterback on there. Potential for safety. We haven't looked at any safeties, and we did have one of our safeties graduate. No one necessarily high up on the board there at strong safety. What about Reddish? Do you have offers? No offers, and the top safety box specialist, probably more of a strong then. Or Christian Bodner, also a junior. Box specialist versus hybrid. We're going to go the top guys on the board here. And with 195 points, they're going to get everything. Give a scholarship. Because we're not going to have enough points to give everyone 50. But we just have to be at the top. We're going to go specifically by positions where we very much need them, and that's going to be corner. So the corners are going to get 50. That leaves us 70 points for 3 guys. So it's not an easy way to really break these ones down here. Tight end, might need a starter there. You are going to get that many. McFarland, you'll get the 25, and a Reddish, you're getting 10. I think that's the best way to spread out these points here, and hopefully we're about to hear a lot of good news that we've helped win a lot of these races. No one came on a visit. No one needs to see Kent State before you show up and put on the pads. That was our pitch here this offseason. So good you don't need to see it. And let's see how many we end up bringing in. Trying to reload this roster, fill in some holes, finally win those big games. The first commit is easily. We bring in an interior offensive lineman. We also add George Theory. Now he is a high school player, receiver, the one receiver we went after. Elijah Coxey, will linebacker, high school player, has committed. We get Bertollet. That's going to be, I think, a high school guy. Lavore, also a high school guy. Dupree, we bring in, who should be our fullback this season. We get Stray, an offensive tackle from Pawpaw, Michigan. We get Ingold. Was that the linebacker we went after there late? I think so. Might have been one of the other ones actually earlier. We do land the Louisville, Kentucky native transfer. Again, interior offensive lineman. Norton also joins, so for Mahoney, he might be out of starting spot depending on how these guys end up growing. Robert Gee, I believe another high school player, is in. Dante Young, we bring in the dual threat quarterback. That's going to put pressure on our current starter in Mason Kelsey. We also get Jabari Okoye from Bradenton, Florida. And we get the scat back as well in Joquez Smith from Tampa, Florida. Not a whole lot of Ohio guys joining. Bobby Ellington is in. We get Keyshed Scott, the corner we offered up too late there at the very, very end. We also get Key Crowell, the other corner we went after there late. And the tight end we went after late. Make it a full trifecta. We get Reddish as well. Did we miss out on anybody? Or did we go a full sweep? We did not get McFarland. So for the most part, a full sweep for at least week 4. We pulled off of a few guys there at the end. But overall, that I think is another massive transfer class here for Coach Ty. Brought in a whole lot of positive players here to help try to build this program. And it's a whole bunch of Kent State golden flashes outside of Seth McFarland. though Ball State did not offer him a scholarship. So we may still see Seth MacFarlane join this team a little bit down the lines. That is massive. Massive group here where we filled in a lot of holes on this team, filled in some depth, and created some competition perhaps. And we were 48 when we started today. We move up 1 to 49. But still, that's for Kent State. We're making moves here. And we finished the top recruiting class in the MAC. Buffalo drops down to 3rd. I said that weird. Ball State drops down to Ball State. Buffalo drops down to 3rd. Miami of Ohio moves up to 2nd. But we took 1st by 13 points. Great job, Coach Ty. Absolutely fantastic. We didn't get any 4 stars. Perhaps next time. Perhaps next time. Position changes. Now's our first chance to really take a look at this roster and where we're going to be at pre-upgrades. Kelsey, still our highest overall. Dante Young comes in here and provides a true backup quarterback. I think that falls perfectly. He could still run the offense with 81 speed, and again, we'll see some progression, hopefully. I should take a look at him. 3-star normal dev. His accuracy can improve a little bit. He's not going to throw the ball deep. That's for sure. His arm is stuck at 95, but his 95, that's actually pretty solid. Overall, not too bad. If there is an injury, I don't think we're out of luck. And then Boger comes in, and yeah, he's basically like the practice squad quarterback. And then running back, Smith comes in 81 overall. I believe that will be our highest overall running back since season 1. Dupree is a 78. Again, all this free upgrades. Now, in terms of Dupree, can he block at all? That's a big question. A 216 or 214. He could truck. Well, that's for sure. There's pass blocking there, but I don't know about run blocking. He also is wearing number 2. But we have 2 running backs wearing 2. I don't think that's legal. Guess we'll have to figure that out. But run blocking rating, 59. I think I could work with that, though Bailey is still here. He didn't end up looking to leave. And he's technically a little bit of a better blocker. And we might still utilize him as a blocker, specifically putting him in like the goal line set or something like that. But ultimately, I think we will have Dupree take over at least the triple option look. But we land 2 starting running backs. One will be just for 1 year. We'll see about Dupree. Got to keep that championship contender high, though, for him. Receiver-wise, I don't think we added anyone towards the top here in terms of transfers. We did have some freshmen, and Theory is a long way from seeing playing time. Tight end-wise, Coates comes in a 72 overall. Hopefully he has some big caps. Otherwise, we're going to be in some trouble. Caps are at a decent spot. He will see some progression. That speed is not great. So we'll see what we do here at tight end this next year. Arnold might get the start because we're not going to be starting 57 overall McNulty. Tight end, rough, to say the least. Offensive line-wise, interior transfers easily 78, 76 for Salavie. So I don't know. That's going to have to be a Google, or someone let me know, like I said, in the comments. Mahoney looks to be out of a starting spot as Trent Norton Jr. comes in, the NASCAR future driver. And Okoye comes in here, 76. Stray also 76. Baldwin at a 75. And we have competition for these tackle spots, that is for sure. And that's what we want, some competition for these starters. Edge rusher, though, is going to have to see some shake-up here for the left side. Apparently, we should have gone after some of those edge rushers. We got a lot of depth, but we might not have a starter. someone's going to have to see some good progression here. And Ellington comes in a 76 overall with only 74 blocks shed. Really was hoping for more there. We'll see if that progresses. Hopefully it does. Now he has some amazing caps. Power is unlimited, finesse moves is unlimited, and IQ is unlimited. The finesse moves has a long way to go. Power moves has a long way to go. Right now, he's just a pure run stopper, who I'm hoping will get better there. But we needed a big body. We got a big body. We didn't know much about these other defensive tackles, so we got some thinning to do for sure. And the freshmen come in pretty low overall. And Roan, the other one, James Tejeda, looks like he was a JUCO sophomore. And for linebackers, we brought in at least one transfer. How about we go to the top of the line here? Because the freshmen are not looking promising. Ingold brought in here a 77 overall. Do need to work on that awareness, that play rec. I think Abu Hamde might move to Mike. Keep him there. So that at least spreads out who will be starting. Just start over here, please. Thank you. Quentin Donald, a 70, and then red shirts down the line there. Abu Hamde helps fill in that role a little bit. And Buchanan, he's going to be asked to do a little bit more this year. He's seen some playing time, and he's made big plays. Now is his time to prove that the 6'1", 177-pound linebacker can get the job done. I hope he puts on at least 5 pounds in this offseason. Cornerback room. Scott comes in a 78, Rollison 75, and Crowell 74. That is what I kind of wanted to see. I wanted to still see Rollison in the top 2. Now, when the team goes through their offseason training, we'll see where he ends up. Crowell, 88 speed, but it's still way better than Stockstill at 85. But we do need to do a much better job of recruiting corners. That is for sure. Now, we don't have any massive press here. A little bit lack of zone there for Crowell. But with the bump and run, you kind of expect that. We'll see how these guys progress, for sure. Safety-wise, Reddish comes in at 82 overall, and I think that means for Gill, because he's going to have to get pushed probably to free safety, which actually looks... Or he is actually at free safety right now. Okay, that works. Quentin Reddish, you're going to strong safety. And you fit there as well. Perfect. Great plug and play there. We just don't have good backups. And you know what we didn't do? We didn't recruit a kicker this year. So in the offseason, the senior punter in Jacob Ulrich is going to have to learn how to kick some field goals. That is an L for Coach Ty. He was focused so much on the offense and defense, forgot about special teams. Yeah, that is rough. One thing we do need to do here is actually move around some of this talent. So who is the worst run blocker at tackle? They're actually pretty even. All right, well then who... Typically, I would say the slimmer guy would be at left tackle. So Daniel started there last year, and I think... Pretty sure Daniel started at left tackle. Is he the better pass blocker? Yeah. So he will move then over to left tackle. And then for Baldwin, where does he best fit? Not the best pure run blocker, so honestly left tackle wouldn't be a bad spot for him either. And then do anyone over at left tackle, can they run block? Either Michaels or Wilson? Weasel? Cecil Wilson can. So he's going to move over to right tackle. Focus the pass blockers primarily at this left tackle spot. Give some decent depth there. Left guard. We got 2 options. I know I'll take the weird starting over towards the right over Madden's just broken screens and not letting me draft, so we'll take that. Do need to move around these edge rushers, I think, a little bit. Create some competition. We have 4 here at left edge, and we have a whole lot more. So for Roy, Teague. Anyone have some sort of dominant move? No. We're going to say left side is strong side. Roy, you're going to move over to the left side and provide some position competition. Should move one more over, and for Toilet, you probably aren't going to make the team in a couple of years anyway, so we'll just move you over to left. Linebacker, we got 2, 4, and a whole lot more. Okay, so who is the fast guy? Who is the strong guy? None of you are really strong in terms of these freshmen, but you are the slowest. Therefore, you go strong side. It'll actually help out Cox. He raises overall 1. That leaves 5. We get 1 more. Slow guy over there, Gee. You go up 1 as well. Over to the Sam. And that'll have 4 on either side. Mike also has 4. We are lacking some speed at linebacker this year. Buchanan has a little bit. We'll see how well he ends up progressing. Hopefully, a lot. 3 and 4. That looks good. Can any of these receivers do anything else? Because we don't need this many receivers. You know what's surprisingly good at carrying? Yes, LaMichael Mayo. A gadget guy. You could be a 66 overall running back. Welcome to your new position. Still not sure if you make the roster, but that's where you're going. Can anyone here run block? No. You have Hassman, but he's going to be a starter most likely this year. So we don't have any hidden tight ends. Outside of the 6'6", 230 pounds carrying. I guess doesn't really let us see if any of these guys can cover without going specifically into each and every one of them. I know Thury was not an athlete. What about Armin Hay? No, just more running backs. We'll see if these guys end up making the roster. Some of the seniors down the line probably going to get cut. As for these running backs, which we still have quite a few of, can they do anything else? Anyone secretly good at run blocking? Greg Rourke. Actually, not too bad of a run blocker, though the lead blocking is not that good. Any spectacular hands out here? Terry and Martin? Not really. All right, well, you guys are all stuck where you are. We just have a lot of depth at some spots, and not so much at others, but I think that is position changes done and dusted. Now we get to see how these guys improve. Hopefully a lot for a few certain of them, though everyone getting better would just be fantastic. Another upgrade coming in for Coach, as we already have guys threatening to leave. Bennett, make your way out. Rourke, you can make your way out. Butler, don't even know who you are. You might be able to make your way out. Some of these linebackers, running back Gaines, by all means, if you're not playing, transfer late. And we get a dev boost for Brenton Bush. His late season impact raises his up to an impact. Love that. Anything else good here? We got something. Give me the quarterback. No. Stock still gets the upgrade. The game likes Stock still. I wasn't a huge fan. Because he got burned so often. make it 3. And Dupree, we haven't even seen him hit the field, and he's already getting an upgrade. All 3 to impact. And that is where the fun ends. We got 16 points for Coach Ty. We might use those before we get into the preseason recruiting. We've got upgrades now. Gil, our closest player ever to a 90 overall, comes in at 88. We're going to start position by position. Kelsey does get a +2. Speed doesn't increase any. Throw power is up to a 92. It got +3, but the accuracies do not improve. His break sack improves. Play action's not that good. He's got some better moves in space. Injury, not great. He did gain 6 pounds. He's at 207 now. And we do see some accuracy improvements come in for Young, who does have better short, worse for medium, far worse for deep. Let's say far worse. It's only 4 less. But a good backup. Good backup there. Running back-wise, Smith is up 3. Dupree is up 5. No one got faster, so we still don't have a running back who has speed in the 90s. But I think Smith is still our fastest running back we have had. And I'm assuming he's got some moves to his game. Some break tackle a little bit in there. Yeah, he's got some moves, got some spin. He could catch the ball too. We're in number 23. We'll see how well he performs. Excited to see what Dupree can do as well. Martin does go up, but is not quite there yet. +12 for Greg Rourke. That's what you want to see from these young guys. Nava gets +6, but Rourke is on the slower side. Can't really truck. He could juke. That's his only move. We'll see how much he ends up improving as the seasons move along. Bailey +1, but not to speed. Tank Hawkins +3, +9 for Bennett. I think he was actually one of the ones considering transferring. But I expected perhaps a little bit more, but Tank Hawkins just got faster. I don't think we needed him to get faster, but he just got a little bit faster. Arian gets faster as well. He's now up to 91. Hassman gets faster. What about the route running for these guys? Catching as well. Catching is still very raw for Hawkins. His route running didn't get any better. No one's route running or release got any better. Outside of, the backups. But I talked about trying to find, a new guy to return. And I think this year I want Tank Hawkins to be a punt returner. Probably not a kick returner, but I think he could do some work as a punt returner. Just make that a little bit impactful. Coates does get a little bit faster, which is massive. Massively massive. But so does Arnold. So does Magnum, but he only goes up +2. Hands did get better for Coates. In terms of route running, pretty solid. Run blocking, though, did not see an improvement. But he is, for the starters at least, our best run blocker. +10, though, for Sammy Magnum. We needed him to gain a lot more weight. He only gained 2 pounds. So he's still a little bit away from being an impact there. We'll see how Coates' speed does with that 75. We might have a situation like last year that we end up switching out the starter at the beginning of the season for just a guy that's faster. Offensive line, Daniels up to an 81. Baldwin stays 75, but does see some boosts. Michaels goes up by 4. Guard-wise, Easley does not see as much improvement as Sally here. Soleil? I don't know. We got to come up with a nickname for him if we're going to keep butchering his name. But good improvement there. And at guard, probably looking for the stronger guy. Easley is stronger. Is going to be the better pass protector. And he's the better run blocker. Just not as much with the lead block. But I think Easley's going to get the start at left guard this year. At center, we see Mahoney do absolutely nothing. That is really unfortunate for him. He gets passed up by Avant, the redshirt freshman, who goes up 7. Norton gets +2. He'll be the starter at the beginning of the season for sure. And at the other side, you got Jabari Okoye, who goes up 2. Gains 3 pounds. At 284, he's not the heaviest offensive lineman by any means. But a lot of blocking ratings here in the 80s. Do love to see it. Might be able to run the ball even more effectively this year. +1 for Stray. +2 for Wilson. Well, the offensive line in general is a lot better. Roy does outgrow Gunter and might look to be the starter. With that 80 speed, probably will be. I don't know how 68 speed would play there. However, a lot more strength when it comes to Gunter. Move-wise, you got 73 for power for the top 3 guys. But Roy brings that finesse to the table with some block shedding. So Roy will be the starter this year. We'll see how well he does. He put on a few pounds this offseason. The other side, you got Bush going up 3. Mevis going up by 9. And Ojeda going up 2. DT, Fall goes up 1. Ellington goes up 3. Give me the block shed boost here. He gets just 1. So right now, still our best block shedder is Seth Nelson. Seth Nelson. But he's not as strong as Ellington. Move-wise, better here with Ellington. So I think Ellington will get the start there. And we'll just have to kind of play it by ear. He does have really good tackling. The strength might help us out. Awareness, though, is really low. It's the opposite, though, for Nelson, who doesn't have the play rec. So we're just going to have to hope that Fall can carry the interior of this defensive line. Linebacker-wise, Buchanan only goes up 2. His awareness player got a decent spot. Block shed is still pretty light. He could cover, though. Pretty solid coverage. Mike linebacker Abu Hamde up to an 81 with Brackens up to a 72. He could rival playing time from Buchanan. But awareness is at a good spot. Speed, I wish, got an upgrade. Put on a couple pounds. Block shed is at a 70. The coverage is looking really good for Syed Abu Hamde. With some good power moves and finesse moves as well. He could be a solid blitzer. Do it all linebacker. And Ingold gets +5. Also, Nyland Brown up to a 73. We got a 3-way tie from what it looks like for that third linebacker spot. Good strength. Here's the run stopper. It is Ingold, 82 block shed. Plus, he's got some solid zone. I think we found our next pair. It's Ingold and Abu Hamde. Cornerback room. Scott goes up 3. Rollison goes up 1. Stockstill ties things up with Crowell. He does get a little bit faster, but he's still slower. Still has less acceleration. Better strength with Stockstill. Awareness, though, better with Crowell. Play rec, Stockstill. Man coverage better with Crowell, but the zone coverage is better with Stockstill. So what's the tackling here? Stockstill is going to be moved to slot. Crowell is also a really good tackler, but it's just the lack of zone there. We'll give it to the senior. Stockstill is still in it, and that speed at 86 won't be as big of a problem playing slot. So that's very, very workable. 82, 88 with the +2. Strength goes up. Man coverage goes up 4. Zone coverage goes up 4. Press goes up 4. He's the best coverage. He's the best press guy on the team. He's not even playing corner. Catching at 83. Tackling at 82. I think Colin Gill, he's got to get the captain's patch. Can we do that here? Can we make him a captain? There we go. Gill, you are the captain of this defense this year. We play how you play. That strong safety, Reddish goes up 2. Robinson goes up 8, and Butler goes up 8. That is massive for those young players and for our future. We got good speed now with a +2 speed for Reddish, +2 acceleration. Man coverage, season improvement. Zone coverage, season improvement. +8 to the zone coverage for both these other guys. 91 catching for Robinson. But 81 tackle for Reddish. He's going to be the starter this year. But as a senior, we have a guy to potentially take over next year with playing time being at a good spot. Real big upgrades. Now, it doesn't look like we ended up getting that other linebacker who didn't have the offer from Ball State. Might still show up later. No kicker. And punter does get a little bit better working on his field goals. All in all, that's a big training session. And might see us finally get close to a 70 overall, if not surpass it. We'll move to the next week then. And yeah, Bennett was one of the ones considering transferring next season. Custom conferences and encouraging transfers. Now, Clemson, I will say, will be moving conferences. Feeling SEC. Let's take a look to see if we have to encourage any transfers, and we have to have 5 people leave. Okay. Position by position here, we need all the quarterbacks. We could see some of these running backs go. But they're all still pretty young. So we'll see if we could thin things out elsewhere, like Dorsey, a senior at the bottom. We're going to encourage he and Kimbrough to transfer to a smaller school in Ohio. Perry, can you get anybody? You already have a deal breaker that you're not liking things here anyway. And you're not going to get any better. And you're wearing number 40. So, Perry, we're going to encourage you to leave as well. Need all those tight ends. We need these offensive linemen. Not going to ask Mahoney to leave. He helped us out quite a lot early on. DTs. What about someone like Cordoba here? Your brother left. We are upset with you. We're meeting his deal breaker. He could get a little bit better in the power moves, some finesse. He could get a little bit better. He could come back to the DT spot. And it looks like we're going to have to go with that DT spot. So, Cordoba, we are going to encourage you to leave. And we might encourage Aiden Burgess as well. Can he see any development before his senior year? A lot of development. Normal dev, though, he may not see it. But if we just go to the full team here, what is the lowest overall on the team? Who is not a freshman? Not looking good for you, Sammy Magnum. You are lucky we don't have a lot of players at that spot. I was hoping we had someone perhaps still in the 50s. Looks like we're going to have to thin out this running back room. And for Ben Nava, playing time is not looking good for him right now. Or do we look for someone like Bennett here, who saw some improvement? Playing style's not what he likes. Going to be a senior. Harrion will still be here. Hassman will still be here. He's a speedster, apparently. Normal dev. Speedster at 89. You could improve elsewhere, but I think Bennett is the man who has voiced his disapproval. Apparently, I clicked the wrong button to go back into him, but I think Bennett is the man to go here. To get us down to 85. We have thinned out the receiver room by quite a bit. Yeah, Jay, we did have to burn the receiver there with the 40. It just, I don't understand. It seems to happen a lot more often with smaller schools that they just will have receivers wearing 20 and random guys wearing numbers that they really just shouldn't. But what do we feel about Clemson moving to the SEC? Because I know in real life, they are not happy right now in the ACC. And if we are to send Clemson to the SEC, do they switch with a team? As it looks, either one would either be, if we switch with someone, we're still left with a conference being uneven. I wish it showed. Okay, it does show what the record was last year. Who was the worst here in the SEC? Kentucky barely above 500. Arkansas, they go 3-9. Now, in my mind, Arkansas should be a Big 12 team. But you at least have Missouri and Oklahoma in here, so like kind of regionally it makes sense. Vanderbilt goes 3-9. I remember, where is Vanderbilt? They are in Tennessee. Would it make sense for a team in Tennessee to join the ACC? So no one else needs to join the Big Ten. Unless we do. I feel like Vanderbilt, in terms of the teams they're playing, would fit in better in the ACC. So that's going to be the move we're going to make. Vanderbilt is out in the SEC. They just never got it going. And Jay saying Nashville. Honestly, I didn't even look to see what the city was. I just saw Tennessee. But they're going to go to the ACC. Clemson is finally out of the ACC. I'm assuming they still have Dabo. But I think Vanderbilt can finally look to do something here. And it's going to make them even more confusing with Wake Forest, which I love. I'm there for that. But I feel like that fits a lot better. And potentially in another year or two, I still think Stanford, I think Cal could look to go to the Pac-12. It was right now a Pac-8. We do need to set rules as well for the big conferences too. So ACC, they are moving, I believe, to 8-game, but it's not letting us change that. So that is unfortunate. Will it let us do it for other conferences? Okay, so they already have 9 for the Big 10. What about the Big 12? They've got 9. And then the SEC, they are also now at 9. So it's just the ACC that's not letting us change that. Interesting. I wonder why it won't let us change that. Maybe something to do with contracts signed or something? Because they've got plenty of teams. still plenty of guys here. So I don't know. But that's going to be, though, I think the one move made this offseason. Start letting me know in the videos if you think other teams should look to move elsewhere. Because, again, we're seeing that a lot in real life. It's all just money grabs, but, hey, it fits with what everything else is doing. Notre Dame, UConn, still the independents. And I haven't heard of any other moves that were going to happen. I guess we could check that real quick. Go 2027 maybe? Yeah, so it doesn't look like there's any other ones currently set to take place. There's just a lot of talk of other ones. So that is where we're going to leave it then. Only change is ACC. Clemson makes the move to the SEC. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt gets sent over to the ACC. And it's still an academic conference. That's why Stanford and Cal went here. So I think Vanderbilt will still fit in that aspect. And being a 70 overall right now, maybe they'll be able to compete with Stanford and Wake Forest. Everyone else seems to be doing a bit better job than they are, except for Virginia. Virginia is not playing very well right now, it seems, nor recruiting well. That is our conferences. We changed all the rules that we were allowed to. Encouraged the transfers. We are running down towards the end here. A couple more things to take care of. And if you all are enjoying, as mentioned earlier, leave a like, or if you are on your phone or tablet on the YouTube app, you could leave a hype on the video as well. That always goes a long way in helping out these small channels. But now is the big talk that we had at the beginning of this stream, where I wanted to play against 4 ACC teams and 4 Big Ten teams, because those are the schools or conferences that we would most likely move to. And it looks like, where are our bye weeks at? Just right at the we get 1 bye. I feel like there used to be 2 bye. I guess that would be week 14 then for us. It looks like we close against Bowling Green in our rivalry game. We got Ball State, Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan. Right now, currently scheduled Rutgers. We have Ohio, Fresno State on there. We have Buffalo week 5. So only 1 rivalry game for us this year. Now, I do want to play Ohio State every single year. So Ohio State is on the board there. Now, talked about ACC. What conference is Cincinnati in? They're Big 12. I wanted to play against Cincinnati because they are Ohio. So we will go, we'll add Cincinnati. And then we'll act as UMass is basically our soft opener for MAC. Then we'll choose from there then. ACC, who are our options? We can play against Vanderbilt. We did land the DT. Ellington, I believe, was from Georgia Tech, so that could be a rivalry game for us. Forgot to check where some of our other players went. We'll have to note that at the beginning of next episode. Bill Belichick, if he's still there. North Carolina, perhaps. As for the Big Ten, UCLA or Maryland. I feel like Maryland would be a good test for bottom side of these top teams. Let's go with Maryland. I don't think we've played them on this channel, at least in quite some time. So, Maryland added. Don't really want to play Rutgers. Florida State is available. Iowa, Purdue, USC Trojans. I'd be good with either Iowa, Florida. I feel like we played Florida State already. So let's go Iowa. Test out how we do against the run. And that has us looking pretty solid here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Verse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of these needs to be away. And Ohio State is not coming to Kent. So that makes a lot more sense there. Before we continue, as we do have a couple things to get through here, I personally need to take a moment and use the bathroom. So I'm going to throw in an ad here. We will be right back. If you're back before I am, have fun staring at the chair. All right. Hope I didn't lose you. But now that means that we have the custom schedule all set up. I'm hoping everyone is back from the break. If you are back from the ad break, leave a thumbs up perhaps in the chat here. Or whatever your favorite safe emoji is. Counterproductive to what I just did in taking the bathroom break. Get a little drink of water as well. All right, we should be back all from the ad break. Time to take a look at the recruiting board. And also a great time to take a look at our school, as we have seen some improvement here, which is great. Championship contender is now up to a B, as we are 1.5 stars here, currently starting first in the MAC. There are still some bad things, though. Program tradition. I mean, we have a long way to go to build that up. D for brand exposure. There's streaming games, national TVs, which I don't feel like we've had any national. We've had more of like local, but I haven't seen the national ones. Stadium atmosphere is not great. Home win percentage helps increase that. Home attendance helps, or percentage helps increase that. Average home game attendance helps increase that. And just team prestige in general. Campus lifestyle, I don't really think there's a way that we can improve that. Yeah. Nor academic prestige. We can increase the conference prestige with average number of team prestiges being higher. But coach stability is looking good. Coach prestige is looking good. We've got to improve our weight room, and that, again, is just going with the prestige of the team. So still a lot of room that we can improve Kent State, but we are finally moving up the board. And as a 1.5 star this year, we have access to 3-star recruits. Unlimited. But if we just take a look here at the overall board, who all is interested in coming here? Do we have any 5 stars? Doubt it. No interest from 5 stars. We'll have the same rule for 4 stars if any are interested in coming here. There are quite a few 4 stars interested in coming to Kent State. Not high on the board, but we're on the board. And that's what all of those wins in the regular season last year helped us do. So, of course, we're adding every single one of these guys. Laps absolutely love that. We do need to make sure we get a kicker this year. That is for sure. But that can wait. 3 stars. Interested in Kent State. There are quite a lot of them. But this year, as we do have a little bit more points, I want to actually focus on recruiting, or not recruiting, but on scouting these guys. There are so many guys interested in coming here. But I do, again, like I said, want to focus on actually getting some scouting taken care of. And then hopefully find the better recruits there. So starting at quarterback. From the top, guys interested in coming here. Backfield creator, Maurice King. I would hope he would have some speed. We'll add him to the board. Another backfield creator in Warren Cantwell. We need some quarterbacks this year, so we're going to add them to the board. We do not necessarily need running backs, so I'm not going to push that outside of, I believe, the 1 4-star that was already interested. Game says we don't need receivers either, so again, I'm not going to press too hard there. We already have a tight end added as a 4-star. Love that. We got David Ojulari, JUCO. I'm going to lay off the JUCOs. But we do have an agile Colin Pitts. Add him to the board. Apparently we need 4 tackles. So we will add Mateo Canada? That might be a way to spell Canada. A few different options here. Pass pro, agile, well-rounded. Why not add all 3? Call that good. Oh, I thought I said add all 3. I added one that was not interested. That would be why. Guard, we need 3 more. Well, there is Tyler Stitzer. We'll add him. Adding the guys that are interested first just to help us out. Less we have to do. And we will add Dexter Wilkins as well. Center, we do not need. Defensive side, we need some corners. We need all DBs, basically. All right, here we go. Finally, someone interested. D'Angelo Cleveland. We have Jamison Brents. Honestly, at this point, I'm not even looking at archetype. Just seeing who has interest, and we go from there. Cam Liggins. And that'll be at least the 3. Free safety. We need 2 free safeties. Well, the top guy there is interested. And we'll add Ladarius Cheeks because that's a great name. Strong safety, you need just 1. Again, top guy on the board, Derek Zyman. And we do need a kicker. Any 4-star kickers? No, okay. Starts with a 3. We will add Marlon Paul. And we need a punter as well. So we will tack on then Greg Grubb. And we'll start with there. With the 500 points, we need to do some scouting. Before we go do the scouting, we're going to jump back here. And we're going to go upgrade our coach. Because we could make sure that we're at least getting cheaper scouting on every different level. Running backs, less time to fully scout. Thank you very much. I'm not going to waste time, though, on the kickers for that. And we already missed out on getting the initial increase there. So I think we're going to pump the brakes. And we're not even trying to sway, so we really don't need that 3rd upgrade. And it doesn't matter right now for the transfers. Might need to get those upgrades installed, though, before transfer for more initial interest. So we got the 1 upgrade we could do there. We'll save the 8 points, and we might put that somewhere else before the season starts. But back to the board here. Starting with the 4 stars, I'm not even going to bother coming in here and scouting them. They're 4 stars. They could come play for us. So they are just going to automatically get the scholarship offer. And we'll see if any of them are still around when we get to the opening week. No, don't exit. There we go. Okay. Now we could actually start the process of scouting these guys. We need a quarterback that can run around. If we take a look here, throw power is on the higher end. Speed is on the higher end as well. That has earned some more scouting. Short accuracy, medium accuracy, not looking great. Speed has dropped. We're going to pump the brakes there. Cantwell, what do you got here for us? Low awareness, but pretty solid starting medium accuracy, but the speed is not there either. I'm not sure we found our quarterback of the future. Bruce Scales, a backfield threat. 85 speed. Pumping the brakes. Unless he's got potential good trucking. That's not even on the board, so probably not. Tobias Boykins, 4-star. We're not going to scout that. Colin Pitts, agile. Doesn't look too bad. The run block power, though, does not look too promising, but he's agile. And our pass block finesse looks pretty good. All in all, looks solid. Awareness is low, but it's not to a point where I'd take him off the board. And apparently we're just running through that one. I didn't even check. Might as well go all the way for Canada. The run block is not great, but the finesse is there. Pass block isn't too bad. Might be more of a left tackle for us. Perfect fit. I'll take it. Steven Dickerson. Not a whole lot to go off of there. Pass block again is looking good, and he is pass pro. Solid pass pro guy. Left tackle through and through. Definitely not a right tackle. Femi Beaver. What a name. Well-rounded. Run block is a little bit low, but pass block makes up for it. Solid player. Still not finding any gems, though, yet, but no busts. Run block power low, but is agile, and that pass block finesse is there. Pass block is a little bit low. Maybe not the highest end, but, you know, he's not a bust. We'll take it. Stitzer. Raw strength. That means I expect a lot of raw ability here, but actually run block is looking solid. Strength is only an 83, and he is our first gem of this series that we know of, because we did not fully scout anyone else. He looks to be a solid guard. Shabazz. That's a great name, too. Impact block is good. Pass block is at least not in the 60s. Make it back-to-back here for the offensive guards. And a pass pro guy here. Don't expect much from the running game, and it doesn't look like we're going to get it anyway. Really bad run block. But that pass pro is pretty high. He's just playing the wrong position. No centers. Edge here in Ezekiel Huey. 86 strength. 69 speed, though, at 237. But 82 power moves. I feel like I got to keep him on the board. He's an interesting player. Not my favorite. Gap specialist in Allen Hyman. 76 block shed. Already would be tied, I think. Or no. But would be second on the team in block shedding. Good strength. He's slow, but he is strong. I like him. Edward Hawk. Got 84 power moves with 61 speed, 91 strength. Work in progress, but he's an interior rusher for us. Could potentially be at least. Matthew Daly. Good strength there. Hit power is high. Block shedding's on the lower side. What's that power move coming in at? Pretty low. Gap specialist with 73 block shed. The high strength. Still work with that. Pure power with 88 strength. 67 block shed. Give me some good power moves. He's got good power moves. So far, no one is, outside of the quarterbacks and the running backs, been so bad that I didn't want to scout them. I just realized we were scouting a bunch of 4-stars. That would be why they're so good. No one wanted to tell me that they were all the 4-stars. Might have wasted some points there. We now have 3 hours to work with. And I'm not going to focus on the linebackers here. We're going to try to focus a little bit, get some base information at least on these corners. That is our money spent. And I wouldn't say Liggins is looking all too impressive. Does have some solid speed potential. Might have some zone potential. Good man, though, for Jamison Brents. Speed on the high end. Man coverage really bad. But might have some zone. Some press is there. Some speed could be there for Cleveland. So not necessarily top-tier guys. We do need to add some other quarterbacks and some other running back. I just realized we did scout the running back too, and he's another 4-star. Yeah, we weren't liking what we were seeing here. But he's a 4-star. Quarterbacks, we did not scout 4 stars. All right. 3-star quarterbacks. What other options are on the board? Anyone in the top 1,000 with interest? No. There are other guys with interest. Some pocket passers, a dual threat in Kevin Tuttle. Another dual threat in Nathan Wetzel. Like Wetzel Pretzel? Got a pretzel scholar? Let's get a pretzel scholarship going here at Kent State. All we can pay you in is pretzels. A lot of dual threats right now. That's all the quarterbacks that at least weren't pocket passers. It's getting late here. Apparently, I can't speak. Look at running backs up the top here. North-south receiver, potentially. Now, the thing is, we don't need running backs. I think that's why we didn't have any other ones on the board. North-south blocker on the smaller side. Another north-south receiver. Elusive bruiser. Another elusive bruiser. I think that's enough running backs. We got 5 on the board. Do need to look at some other tight ends. Again, just trying to fill out the board a little bit. There is one with interest in Nick Gomez. Physical route runner. Now, we just got a physical route runner. Pretty slow. He's also a JUCO. That's going to push us off. Vertical threat in Rodney Lupecki? I don't know. We're going to add you to the board, and that is the board. So there's still a lot of unknown, but the biggest thing is that there are 4 stars interested in coming to Kent State. And we've moved up to a 1.5 stars. So big things happening here for Coach Ty in the recruiting. We're just going to try to dial it in a little bit this year. Find our true targets and go after them. Which obviously is going to be pretty much the 4 stars out the gate. And we'll see if any of the other guys end up falling our way. Some schedules. Yeah, I think that is just about it here for us today. We will get on into the next week. We have the schedules all set. Don't need any more upgrades right now. See if any last-minute things pop up. If you have questions, something you want to see, definitely leave that in the comments. We'll cover that before we head on out for today, as we are into official week 0. So what this team is looking like right now, and I imagine we're going to attack things very similarly to last year. Colin Gill comes in as the defensive captain. Mason Kelsey, I think it's time we get him set up as a captain as well. Boom, bam. Maybe that'll help out his accuracies a little bit. Kelsey comes back as the starting quarterback. We brought in a transfer to be our backup quarterback after Tomlinson left, and the guy we brought in Dante Young, is actually a scheme fit from Akron, Ohio. We brought in 2 new running backs. Joquez Smith is going to be our Harris replacement who did transfer away. We brought in Jalen Dupree to add some more speed and impact to the fullback spot of the triple options. On top of that, We also did see some upgrade for Martins. Gaines, Rourke got a plus 12 if I'm not misremembering. So potential guys down the lines. We just don't have the speed at the running back spot, and that is what I'm looking to add. Bailey did stick around, didn't see much upgrade. Hawkins did go up a little bit. Carrion saw some good boosts. Hassman has moved himself into that primary third receiver spot. Though the catch in traffic is going to be a little bit low, it's still tied for second best on the team. And he should be able to handle those crossing routes for us. Carrion does have some impressive release. Hopefully we'll get his improved speed down the field a little bit more with that 6'6" height as well. Tight end is going to be a concern perhaps. We're going to start with Quandre Coates, another transfer. But with that 75 speed, is it going to be a liability like Hopperton was? Does Arnold then see some more playing time? Because it's not going to be Magnum or McNulty. As for the offensive line, Daniels moves to the left tackle spot officially. We do see some good growth for the guys behind him. Left guard transfer in Marquise easily will be getting the start, but we have some solid options behind and potentially could even look to see some other playing time across the board with another transfer across the entire interior of this offensive line. Full of transfers. Norton Jr. takes over as Mahoney moving into his senior year. All he did was hit the bars in the offseason. He didn't try. He doesn't improve. He is replaced. We also have transfer in Okoye. Move in at right guard. The redshirt freshman, 80 overall with some boost coming in from the coaching. Right tackle transfer in Darren Stray. So we have one returning starter from last year on the offensive line. Edge rush is going to be a little bit concerning. We ended up pushing more towards the cornerback room, the offensive line, less on the edge rush. In fact, we took them off. And we're going to have to hope that Roy really shows up for us this year. Britton Bush did get a boost up to impact dev. He's going to have to lead the edge rushers for us. DT Elijah Fall sticks around as Ellington joins us from Georgia Tech, just adding more big boys to the center of this defensive line, and he really is the only big boy. 285 for Fall, 337 for Ellington. We'll see if we can change that number 72. I'm not sure if we will be able to, because we got some weird numbers here at the DT spot. Buchanan has worked his way into potential starting time, but we'll have to fight with Brackens at Mike, and as well, never mind, Seth MacFarlane has joined here late. A late transfer addition. That was the man who originally said he was going to go to Ball State. He was a walk-on there. He says, no thank you, and instead has come to Kent State with 81 blocks shed. 73 man coverage, 66 man. Did I say man for the zone? Either way, you can see what it is. Seth MacFarlane now takes over as that third linebacker then, and for Buchanan, he might have to wait then for his senior year. Abu Hamde moves to Mike and should be the team's leading linebacker, though Ingold, another transfer, will be fighting for that title as a redshirt freshman. We just got to make sure we keep that playing style up there. At corner, we see We see Keyshed Scott join us as well as Key Crowell. Rollison gets a good boost. Stock still gets a good boost as well and might have put himself in line to be the starter in the slot this year, as Crowell just does not have that zone coverage. Stock still does. And playing time for him is really important, though he is a senior, so we can't really transfer. As for the safety group, we saw Gill, our highest rated player. We also had Quentin Reddish transfer in. He moves to strong safety and takes over for Harris. Good upgrades, though, for Robinson and Butler. Have them in line to be the primary backups. We have a walk-on kicker, Dylan Curtis, with 97 kick power and 76 kick accuracy. What a walk-on. Did we steal this guy from the soccer team? I feel bad because we had Ulrich practicing field goals this offseason. He'll just have to stick to punting for now. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good fill, because we definitely fumbled that one, and that means we don't necessarily need a kicker this year. But if we get one, great. But I think that concludes a great offseason here for us, in which we very much reloaded this roster. Now we're going to be testing this roster in a massive way. We do not have a cupcake game this year. We scheduled, I think, 2 games against Big Ten teams, 1 ACC and 1 Big 12. We start against Ohio State. I don't know if we actually landed any of their former players that we put on our list. We'll have to double check. We have Cincinnati week 3 after an early week 2 bye. This is a challenge to the rest of Ohio. We are coming. You better show up, otherwise we're going to take your recruits. A real easy game is going to be against UMass, coming in week 4 before a MAC title rematch against who has become a rival in the Buffalo Bulls. We have Maryland as well coming in week 6 before we get fully on into MAC schedule. Ohio. Just kidding. We got Iowa in the mix there as well. We're bouncing around for the majority of the first half of the season into the second half. Then we face the Michigans, wrapping out against Ball State and a rivalry game in week 13 against Bowling Green. Hopefully this year we see ourselves continue to dominate the MAC, show that we can impress against some of these tougher tier teams, and show that we might just be ready for our own conference realignment. As Clemson moves to the SEC, Vanderbilt goes to the ACC. I think that's about as much of a wrap-up as we're going to need here. If you're wondering, Heisman watch to start the season, none of us, but a quarterback for Stanford. Coach Ty likes to see that. But at the top right now is going to be Decorian Moore, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, receiver out of Oregon, junior. You also have the Mahomes wannabe on the board here, 3rd. Mensa from USC at 4. And Micah Hudson, the Texas Tech receiver, who was receiving passes from last year's Heisman in Sorsby, if I'm not mistaken, from Texas Tech. Ohio State, they're the reigning national champs. We have them in our first game of the season. If you have not already, you want to make sure you catch up with the rest of this series and into the future, hit that sub button either down below or bear icon in the bottom right. It's completely free and a great way for you to help support this channel. Another great way is by hitting that like button and as well hitting that hype button as well. It just helps raise the videos up in the search results, competing against the big channels that normally reign at the top. So if you want to support, those are great ways to do it for free. You just being here and watching these videos as well is a great way to help support. We'll see you next time, as Ohio State is going to be our first opponent. We put up a fight in the first quarter last year against them, but we did not stick around in that game. I think we have a chance to stick around this year. As always, leave your comments on how Coach Ty is doing in the comments below, ideas for the future, and potential other conference realignment as we move along in this series. But we will see you guys next time on Monday against Ohio State, kickstarting season 3 and welcoming in, honestly, quite a lot of new guys. But until then, we'll see you later. Thank you for being here. Again, Monday, Ohio State.